Welcome everyone, this is Ryan Hoyme, aka Massage Nerd, and today we have Oleg Bouimer, and this show is brought to you by our friends at Massage Magazine Insurance Plus. Massage Magazine has been exploring touch therapies for over 25 years and used the industry's knowledge to develop the best value liability insurance in the business. Welcome tonight, Oleg.
Thank you, thank you.
Yep. So tonight's topic is going to be Russian sports massage then, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
Yep.
Russian sports massage with American accent.
Yep. So, Russian sports massage isn't that really? It's not really well known over here. Can you explain how you started out with your training and stuff?
That's been all back in former USSR, and back then it is scientifically designed method, and it was part of anyone's education, anyone who was going after physical education and sports degree, that massage therapy was a mandatory course, and it was that way since 1924. So, as you can imagine, that meant a lot of respect and recognition for massage therapy as a tool in enhancing athletes' performance. And the same goes for medical field. Every medical doctor would have to have a knowledge of medical massage, sports massage, and hands-on actual skills of performing massage. So it's very, very different. Historically, it's been very different, and as a result, Russian sports massage ended up to be the most advanced system of sports massage in the world, at least based on my knowledge.
That is so cool. I mean, most doctors don't know much about massage and stuff like that, but they're actually required to train. Then that's cool.
Yes, yes, and it's amazing because a couple of years ago I was presenting at the American Academy of Pain Management, and many medical doctors were participating at that event. So it was like an eye-opening, how little, if at all, they knew about the power of medical massage. And when I say medical massage, I do not mean modality. It's as a concept. Whenever there is a need to address something that has been pathologically changed, some disease, some abnormality, that's whatever you use under that umbrella, that's what I refer to as a medical massage. And that was the topic for my presentation, the role of medical massage in pain management. And it's been all proven in Russia, in the former USSR, in Eastern Europe. And here, unfortunately, we still have quite a way to go.
Yeah, because do doctors actually perform much massage out there, or do they just learn it and then leave it up to other people?
Well, they do. They do know how to perform, and this is part of their education. However, if you would visit Ukraine, Russia, any of the former USSR republics, you would find that in the hospitals and on every level in the hospital based on the department, it is the neurology or orthopedic or respiratory, they have a room, department of massage therapy where few therapists are working day in and day out addressing just that specific pathology or range of pathologies. So it's very different approach, and massage therapy in that part of the world being respected and looked at as a part of the traditional Western medicine. It's not even an alternative, but traditional Western. So medical doctors and sports, performance professionals, experts alike, they all had skills, actual skills of performing massage. Yes.
And how long does it usually take somebody to complete a program for massage over there?
Well, back when, look at me, I'm not that old, but back then, there were only two ways to become massage therapist. Either you would choose to go to medical school and study for 3 years, and you would get massage therapy as a part of that education, or physical therapy, physical education university, physical education and sports for 5 years. That was obviously, not obviously, but that's what I have chosen as my career path. So 5 years. So that's it. 3 years of medical school or 5 years of physical education and sports university. That was the way to become massage therapist. The only way.
And is massage covered by insurance companies over there at all, or?
Well, again, we're talking about the Soviet era when everything was government owned, so that there was no, everything was free. Healthcare was free, right? So that's why that was not a point of affordability. Everyone who needed massage was prescribed and got it. It was free healthcare.
And then how long have you been in the States then?
I came here, actually, I landed in New York in 1993. Said hello, New York, and that's where my path began here in US, my professional path.
And have you been over to over there recently at all then, or?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, 3 years ago, that's when I actually ended up going to the local regional hospitals in the West Ukraine, and I was videotaping actual clinical setting. I would go to those departments, like I mentioned, in a hospital, just walk in, ask permission, and videotape. I saw a therapist working on a child with a cerebral palsy. In another room, a young therapist, she worked on a prematurely born baby, so orthopedic massage. So it's fascinating, and it was such a joy for my heart to see that the traditions are still alive, of that scientifically designed massage protocol for specific pathologies. So very, very specifically oriented. So if you, let's say, medical massage practitioner, the chances are you are in a medical setting and not dealing with the sports massage or preventative massage, which if that would be different path to take, and specializing only in that category, working only on that type of clients. So it's very different, very, very narrow specialization that allowed people to gain so much skills within that, obviously area.
So people working in spas over there, do they have to have different kind of training then, or?
Well, you see, Ryan, that's a great question. However, that's all because of the difference in a lifestyle. So the spa there, that was not like a day spa type of spa. It was medical. When you would go there, it would be run by medical doctors, and you would get professionally treated. Whatever physical therapy, exercise, some mineral bath, some those very, very healing powers of the mud rub. Everything scientifically again put together as an integrative approach to treatment. So you would not go there just because you felt like to get spoiled. No, that was not only a necessity of addressing people, athletes or not, that needed either to become more productive as a labor force or as the professional athletes to boost their performance. So very much different approach.
Are there many different styles over there in massage, or is it just considered Russian medical massage, or?
Well, did I prep you for this, or are you asking such a good
No.
question?
No.
So this is amazing because that's how I start even teaching. Because just to mention, I am a director of advanced studies at the Southern California Health Institute, based in LA, North Hollywood. So when I teach to the students, the people that enrolled into our school to become massage therapists, and I would actually explain, to answer your question, that back in Russia it was so easy because you would have sports massage as a concept, as an umbrella, medical, and then therapeutic, like stress reducing massage. Done. 3. So you learn, you learn everything, but then as far as your career, you would choose one of those 3. Stress management, sports, and or medical.
And did you learn all three of them, or?
Yes, and I teach. That's why even now I just posted the calendar of my seminars for 2012 on my website, obviously allwellnessglobal.com, and you would see that mostly I teach sports massage because I have decided to focus on sports massage because there are so many good teachers right now that teaching different modalities of medical massage in the United States. Great number of fantastically skilled teachers. But as far as the sports massage, there is still a bigger gap exists, in my opinion.
Yeah.
That is why I make the point to teach mostly sports massage. However, like in midsummer in West Palm Beach, I will be teaching 3 days medical massage seminar, teaming up with my business partner, Dr. Ros Turchaninov. And essentially, I'm very excited about that event. It will be a phenomenal event. But that's to answer your question. I used to teach everything, including shiatsu and other, Eastern therapies and chair massage and hot rocks, ice, all the modalities. However, I admit that if you focus on something like one, you choose one, even as a concept, medical or sports or preventative, you'll be better off. So my choice, I still teach medical, but even for that West Palm Beach seminar, I will be partnering with Dr. Ross because I want to give as much as possible. And I'm very skilled practitioner. However, my expertise mainly lies in sports massage and rehabilitation.
And how have you seen Russian sports massage over the years? Has it changed in the United States at all, or has it kind of stayed the same? Or
It's the same because there is no Russian sports massage in the US.
okay.
Got you. Again, it took you a while.
Yep.
I know you have an excuse. It's a new year, a fresh start, so a little slow.
Yep.
First of all, I should have started by saying Happy New Year to you and everyone who is hopefully following this live presentation, live interview. Happy New Year to everyone. And it's quite symbolic that I guess I'm the first person on your live radio this year.
Yep.
Wow. No pressure, right?
Yeah, none at all.
But yeah, so no, this is it's amazing. It's amazing. And now, with back to your question, I know there are some schools that they have implemented Russian sports massage on a bigger scale or smaller scale. I would safely assume that they got some Russian therapist as an instructor, and that's why they have the sports massage on the menu, Russian sports massage. However, I do not have enough knowledge to say if there has been any progress. I know that people that do come to my seminars and learn that based on their testimonials, they say that we had thousands of hours, including hundreds and hundreds of sports massage training, and now we feel like we are just starting, like we are back in the kindergarten because we learned so much within those 2 days intensive seminar. So it's solely based on the people's testimonials. I'm very, very happy, and I anticipating big, growth in this year in my following, simply because this is true knowledge. It's not just talk, something unique, something different based on my emotional statement. It's based on a science. And also I'm happy that at this point I have been confirmed as an instructor in Europe. In May I will go for 2 years, I wish, for 2 weeks in Europe before Olympic Games in London. So in May it will be London and other cities in England and other countries in Europe. That's they actually found me and obviously watched my DVD, and so they have decided that I would be a great resource for their therapists, physiotherapists, and massage therapists, and athletic trainers. Right before the Olympic Games would come to London.
Are you going to be there for the Olympic Games then too?
I might. So far, actually, I have responded to a couple of requests from different teams, and at the same time, I have requested also to be as therapist for Olympic Games. But it's not like here we have many great therapists that they join the team to go to Olympic Games. But that's different, as you understand. They just provide services to everyone left and right, and it's amazing service. However, I am looking for direct, for instance, Russian national team, triathlon national team. I have just contacted them. There is a soccer team in one of other countries. There is a rugby in New Zealand. There are different teams that I have actually interested in working with as an Olympic massage therapist in the preparation for Olympic Games and serving them at the Olympics. So far, nothing concrete, but people express their interest, so we still will wait and for this to unfold.
Have you ever worked in the Olympics before?
Not Olympic Games. No, I'm former professional athlete, and one of my former teammates, he is now actually the head coach for Russian national Olympic team for triathlon, and I have very close ties with many Olympians. And however, myself, I have not made it to Olympics. I would, if I, as a professional athlete, if the sport that I have chosen back then would be an Olympic sport. But I reached a very high level in my own competitiveness, but that was an army sport. So I would, run with machine gun, shoot from 3 positions, throw grenade and target and distance. So grenade and machine gun, not so good for Olympics. I wish someone would tell me that I would benefit later on talking to you and and this during this interview, and I will tell you about my personal success at the Olympic Games but anyway, I'm grateful for all my experience as a former professional athlete, and when I stopped competing, I stayed with the national team as a massage therapist. So training with Olympians all those years back in Russia, and then rehabilitating them, but not actual Olympic Games. No, not yet.
Okay, but you want to try to plan on doing that in the future, then, right? And
yes,
yep.
Yes, I'm interested, and that would be good to lead people by example, because like I always say, guys, if you take massage table and show up at the race place, it's not turning you automatically into sports massage therapist. The same, with the best intention, you could go to Olympic Games, and I'm happy people do that, and everybody happy as a result, but this is not a maximized use of the power of massage. Because to really use fully the science behind sports massage, you would need to be with the athlete through one's training process. And that's very much an integral part of the training process. And then you would effectively implement that science right before the competition, in between, and after. So we're talking about different level of sports massage as a science. And in that sense, I always tell to my students or potential students, that if you don't have anyone as far as a professional athlete, please, keep your eyes open for the opportunity, because once you learn this system, you'll be able to work on anyone, athlete or not, because of the science of when you learn how to communicate with the central nervous system, how to communicate with the specific receptors, the way that stimulation or inhibition of the specific muscle will be as an outcome. So it's very much precision in delivery, not 5 minutes before or later, not these techniques, but that. So it's science, and that is why it was so frustrating to me to read articles, and you're probably aware of some articles that have been published based on a scientific research done by medical doctors in some European countries, in Canada. There are quite a few articles claiming that there is no benefit of sports massage for, they are not, sports massage does not speed up, let's say, athlete's recovery, or it does not contribute to reducing in muscle soreness next day, or something like that, along that line. And that's, I'm sorry to say that that's not true. I mean, actually, I'm happy to say, but I'm sorry that for those doctors, with all due respect, spending the time doing research and then coming up with such a ridiculous outcome simply because they did not get the right numbers, like a lottery combination. If I buy a lottery ticket today and tomorrow I'll find out that I did not win, I would not say that lottery does not work. It means the combination of numbers was not a winning one, right?
Yeah.
The same for research. If you know, and Russians knew, after decades and decades of research, they have found out the golden ticket combination. And that's it. So now we just enjoy the process. You just do it at the right time, right techniques, right pressure, and enjoy the outcome of your champion, or your athletes becoming a champion.
And over in Russia, is there research going on too, then documented research of massage stuff, or?
Everything, absolutely. As a matter of fact, after I have graduated from my university of fitness, physical education and sports university, and I graduated with honors, so I got quite a few offers to go and join scientific research groups, and I have joined one I worked in a medical school in West Ukraine and in a research lab. And my point is, it was so hard to find something that was not already covered by research. So I spent several months in a library, and everything I would think, how about this, before, let's say, swimming competition in a high altitude, whatever, I would come up with such a twisted topic, hoping that still would be uncovered by research, and no luck. So that was very, very difficult to find something that was not already researched, so that's the reality. And I'm not sure these days if they as actively doing research or not, because as you understand, the system has changed in many ways. There is a chaos in many industries now, and I would not be surprised if the quality of massage therapy training in Russia and other former republics of former USSR, that the quality went down. I would not be surprised, because guys like myself, most of us, I am aware of that we left, we immigrated to different countries. Others, including our teachers, obviously have retired or even passed away. So anyway, that's just a reality that maybe I'm one of the last guys that still have this knowledge, and I not talking from the ego, but from the reality, that's what keeps me going, thinking, how many people was I able to reach today with this knowledge? My students at the Sochi school as a director and instructor, and my continuing education students, and or by selling my DVDs or writing articles. So that's why, that's what, makes me go to bed with a smile on my face, because I'm happy in my anticipation of the next day, because I know how much more I will be able to do, and that's the drive, my really drive, to keep doing what I do, because of the science that is still virtually unknown here in the United States.
Yeah, because there's some research going on, but it's not as prevalent, I think. Massage Therapy Foundation, they do a lot of research or give grants and things like that, but there's still so much more to go. And with Dr. Tiffany Fields, you met her. I remember seeing you getting your picture taken and stuff with her.
Come on. Are you a mind reader now?
Yeah.
I don't really, really, you're freaking me out now. I was just thinking, was going to say that Tiffany Field, as a result of us, talking during the convention, FSMTA convention, we still in touch, and more than in touch. I am organizing next event as a fundraiser in Hollywood, in Hollywood area, just to raise funds for the next research that I like the idea, and it's about the connection between depression in women, pregnant women, and the prematurely born, babies. So how to solve the crisis with premise as one of the ways to address, the mother's emotional state, those mothers to be emotional state, and that's simply by again knowing what to do to balance sympathetic parasympathetic system, to reduce the tone of sympathetic, as a result to improve the blood flow through certain artery to the fetus, and so on and so on. Not to get too technical, but yes, that's right now something that we have discussed and agree on. So there are some technical things to be taken care of, and I will have an event here, because my last event was with Chanel 3 years ago. Tell me about time flies so fast. But I raised quite a bit funds, and I end up using those funds for addressing children with autism and cerebral palsy. So that was not a research per se, but just work and enjoying improvement in quality of life of children with cerebral palsy and CP and and autism.
Okay.
So, and I have something that I'm packaging now as a system to be introduced to parents, because Ryan, it's not a secret, we need to find as many connections as possible, to build as many bridges as possible between us as a professional massage therapist and parents and general public, because they do not know the power, and instead of us fighting, like, oh, my system is better, or this, we all will be better off at the end if we'll find the way to deliver the message to the general public, corporate world, sports arenas, sports industry, because this is where the secret of our success as a profession lies. When we will make that connection, when personal trainers, athletic trainers, coaches will understand and know that yes, in Russia, back in former USSR, they would not be able to do what they do now here unless they would be fully certified as a massage therapist, because you cannot just keep exercising those athletes and loading their systems, their muscles, without knowing how to unload, without checking their pulse, understanding how the tone, when there is a strengthening of the muscles, lead to actually pretty much when muscles strength and tension, healthy tone or unhealthy tone, not to confuse muscle strength with muscle tightness. So if I am a coach, and I actually came here to the United States as a coach, as an athletic trainer, as a fitness expert, and I started doing that type of work with clients. However, I have recognized that I could not deal with the picture that they had in their mind, what training with me would consist of, and what I was actually suggesting and offering, that was very different. So they would look for someone who would say, just give me more, just more like a motivational speaker, kicking their butt. And I was approaching fitness from internally, how to increase the effectiveness of what you do, how to maximize more of what you already have instead of building more. And as a result, understanding the discrepancy between what I was excited about sharing and about them being swept away with the concept, but not having enough self-discipline to follow. So that's when I made the decision to become a rehabilitation therapist and help them after they do incorrect fitness, in a way, for me to correct it through the science of massage. So that was actually, that's how I ended up doing solely massage, because I saw left and right how people were getting injured by using Pilates, yoga, fitness, everything like that, and because the trainers have never learned, or the personal trainers, athletic, have never learned balance. They've learned only the way to load, and some stretching, and some, cool down at the end of training. That's not enough. That's not enough.
Yeah, I can definitely vouch for that. For the last couple of months, my wife has been working out really hardcore, and she's been injuring herself left and right.
And that's actually, and I hope we have quite a few listeners right now. That's good for all of you guys, because this is the new year, and you know what that means. New year resolution, and you know what that means. Everybody runs now and signs up, membership, sports club membership, buying uniforms, say buying 10 sessions with a personal trainer, Pilates. You know what it means. It means more business to you, all of you. In a couple of weeks, your business should be booming. I'll give it 2 weeks. I'll give it 2 weeks.
And Phyllis in the chat asks, if Oleg has worked with professional dancers, what does he do to help keep their feet in good shape?
Actually, one of my students, he's solely based on professional dancers, including Russian ballet, including all the, so myself personally with dancers, I have not worked, but everybody, I have actually, and I need to look into this. So first of all, Ryan, even right now, if someone has very specific question, would they please email me, because I will be happy to take my time and really gather my thoughts and my notes and give them as much as I can as far as the actual protocol, because my answer directly, I have not worked with professional dancers. Right away, I will tell you, I could give you the protocol what to do.
Okay, cool.
That makes sense?
Yeah.
Just like that, simply because I have all the resources at my fingertips. One, you look at some of my notebooks, one phone call, one, because I know I just need some specifics, and I'll spell out A, B, C, D, and then I will be happy to even post it on my website or my Facebook for everyone else to read. But please, I would like everyone to utilize this, option, because I am here to give as much as I can, and I can do a lot, but I need to know what's your questions. So yes, professional dancers, like I said, my friend, my student, he does all of them, and here in LA, in Hollywood, and he traveled with them. He has all the top dancing stars in US and in Russia, around the world actually. They all his clients. So I'll be happy to connect them, or myself still put it as a protocol for the professional dancers. Yes. In general, I will tell you, because of the core, they working on the core, of course, so much. So you would need to literally address they aligned, of course, they aligned. But the feet, actually, the foot, the ankle. What's the more specifically the question, Ryan?
What was the question?
Yeah, more specifically, yes.
What does it do to help their keep their feet in good shape?
Right. Okay. Now again, I would clearly say already from the top of my head that I would actually use massage pretty much with the with the application of heat and cold as a concept, because again the muscles, that they are very small muscles, very strong, but you need to break them in a way, not break them. I'm sorry, bad choice of word. To use heat and then to use cold, including as a self-application for them, because this is the best relief that they could get by simply applying foot bath, the cold foot baths themselves, before going to bed, because this is literally will keep them fresh overnight, and they will feel much better in the morning. That's for sure. Otherwise, we're working. You would still have to work all the way from the lumbar area down, addressing spinal nerves and everything down, following the dermatomes, and look if there is any reflex zone formed along. Then you would be addressing more specific areas. But all in all, that would be the key.
And is Russian sports massage known to give homework to the clients then, like self-treatment things to do at home, or?
That's a must. That's a must. You see, big portion of success in application of massage is the teamwork. Because if I have a client, of course, I would educate one that for fully benefit from massage, I would need minimum 5 sessions, let's say, done every other day. However, what that client would do in between the sessions is as important, because if they go back to what they do, let's say if that person is a dancer, then they do so much more, so many hours of overloading those systems, and then for me in muscles, and then for me in one session, I would give them, of course, they would experience an improvement and release. However, how much, for how long would it last? So that's why always, to answer your question directly, Orange, yes, and yes. Homework, you tell them exactly what to do, you insist, you demonstrate, you make sure they understand, and next day you call and you follow up. Because people, they might listen, they might agree, not their head, but you need to follow up, call them, and again ask, have you done that exercise? Have you, done this or that, depending on the condition? You have to be diligent in following up.
And working on professional athletes, are they any different than let's say the college athlete or the everyday athlete, or?
Well, the only tricky part that the higher level of an athlete, the higher level of performance, the more specific you would have to be, the more impact that massage, would have on that person. So, put it in the other way, if 1 second or 1 inch, or will make a difference between first place and second place, the more that the athlete at that level in competition, the more specific, the more power of this massage you would be able to utilize. However, then you would become like a shadow, for that, you would be like a shadow of that athlete, and you would tell the coach, at this time I need him or her on my table. And that's how it would go, not whenever you can, but no, you would tell coach, and the scheduler would work around your therapy in conjunction with the training, because this is the key element. The higher level of an athlete, the more the science would play a role. Otherwise, like I said, if you come to my seminar and you do not have, you work only on the weekend warriors, then I would tell you, Ryan, it's okay. They will be so much better off by getting your massage after your training versus just regular massage, because of the science behind it. However, you would not be getting so uptight. Am I now 12 minutes before the start, or 17 minutes before the start, or am I going past 1 minute? Or you see what I mean? Because then maybe that person will be improving by, cutting 20, 30 seconds of the race or whatever. Or, see what I mean? So we're talking about different level in neuromuscular, operations. When the higher level of athlete, the more important would be your level of skill in this massage for that person to benefit to get maximum out of massage. Myself as an athlete, once I made a mistake and I allowed someone who was not experienced giving me massage, and me even more importantly receiving that massage, and I allowed this, I was in a zone obviously, and I allowed that person, when there was a delay in start, and that was a race in the woods in Siberia, there was a race like running 5K, and he massaged my legs because there was a delay in the start. I'm thinking, why not? Extra 20 minutes, and he was so kind to offer. And so I barely finished that race because that totally disturbed, the communication that I have, was building over the months and months of training. The way my muscles were responding, my pace, my everything. It was completely ruined. So I could not believe. If I would not have experienced it myself, I would say it's baloney. It's how could you affect so much? If I trained so hard for several months, for years, how could that massage done incorrectly, or for me not to be experienced with receiving that type of massage, how could it ruin my performance so much? But it did. Everybody was passing by me, looking back, thinking, what's wrong with me? They never saw anything but my, dust from under my heels far ahead of them, and they were passing me, and I could not do much but finish that race and feeling pretty miserable. But that was my mistake, my fault. However, my point is, yes, you do not want to apply massage, especially as a pre-event application for someone, especially if that's someone at the high level of athlete. Does it make sense?
Yep.
All right, so that's what. And in general, you also, when someone asking me, so what's the difference, sports or Russian or not? And I say, well, generally, Russian sports massage is much faster pace. At least 50% of the session spent on kneading. So you should have to be very skilled in kneading technique. Your hands should be very loose, and your energy should support your movements to the point that you would never be concerned about developing carpal tunnel, or how many years you could be in a profession doing such intense work. No, if anything, it's the opposite effect. If you have some kinks in your neck or some stagnation in your body, you go into massage room or whatever, you step to the massage table, and by the time you're done, all of that is gone out of your body because of the energy, because of the styles, the rhythm that you develop through the massage and maintain it through the massage, while your whole body supporting you through that dance. So that's a science. It's a science of keeping your own health going. And of course, also the key element, one of the main purposes also of sports massage is peripheral vascular resistance that is we're facing as a result of the physical overload. Peripheral vascular resistance. So we need to reduce that. We need to make it easy, otherwise, on the heart. Otherwise, that creates a tension to the point that when athlete goes to sleep, instead of one being at rest, in horizontal position, and for the heart taking rest, it keeps pushing, it keeps working hard because it has to, obviously work against the resistance in the vessels, blood vessels. So simply the intention as you apply the rhythmic massage, as you follow the sequence, your intent is on reducing the peripheral vascular resistance. So literally the connection that you're making, projecting the outcome of your strokes, that has a huge importance as well. So we're talking about the whole package, and there are many unique techniques. Generally, pace is faster, very rhythmic, and like I said, the understanding what you do, visualizing what you do, and enjoying the whole process. But it's all science. It's not just something I do it so successfully because the way I am. No, this is science. Man or woman, old or young, if they were trained the same way that I was, you would see the same hands, the same movement, the same pattern in their body movement around the table.
Okay. And does Russian sports massage include a lot of stretching at all?
It does. It does. And again, mainly it comes. I mean, let's say if you finish working on a segment, whatever, you always finish with the passive stretching. That's like a rule, like ABCs of massage. So finish working on a segment. You do effleurage. You do friction. You do friction kneading. You do kneading. You do vibration. Some shaking with the passive stretching. However, if there is a pathological change in a tissue, if muscle has pathologically changed, if there is a hypertonus in a muscle, then of course you use PIR, post-isometric muscular relaxation stretching technique, which is you would not be using on a healthy muscle. So if normal anatomical muscle length is present, you just give it a little, create extra cushion by range of motion, passive stretching. But if there is a pathologically changed muscle, of course PIR. And the sooner you could apply it, the better. If someone got injured during the competition and the muscle got the protective muscular tension kicked in and it all went into spasm, right away, right on the spot, you would apply PIR and that person would be able to go back and continue competition. So few details, very important, scientifically based, but PIR, post-isometric relaxation, one of the muscle energy techniques essentially, right? And that actually was, I don't know, not many people know about it, not many massage therapists aware of that. Dr. Mitchell in Chicago area, he was the one who originally developed PIR method, and then Dr. Levitt and his student Yanda, and they picked up on that, and Russians, Professor Vaitsakhovsky and Vasilovsky, really contributed to that as well. So it's the history is there, and it's all been enhanced and improved. However, the origin of PIR as a method, post-isometric relaxation technique, it's a USA. So not so many people know about it.
Yep. And then, do you guys get into pre-event and post-event a lot too?
Oh, that's a key. However, again, since many of the participants at my seminars, they are not directly involved, so they are not in a position of working with an elite athlete or professional athlete in general. Still, they go to those race events and they would like to be more effective. So that's why, in that sense, we still look at the pre-event or post-event. However, here we go again. We are approaching the fact that either you have the power over, in determining when you will see that person on a table based on one's, competition time when the competition starts, right? And when you get that person or those 2, 3, 4 athletes that you would follow, when you get them on your table after or in between the competition, right? So that would be determined by, are you in that position working at that level, or you just go set up your table at the race place and you have line of people 20, 40, 60 and they go through you before and after. So if you are more like a weekend warrior type of massage therapist, sports massage therapist, great, because then you would fully utilize the concept, what do's and don'ts, what to do and what's not, based on the concept, what techniques, for how long. You would still be learning the communication. You would actually feel the muscles. You would taste the fatigue in those systems, the exhaustion in the nervous system, and you would be able to correctly choose this tool to address that. It's like a fine tuning for piano or for other musical instrument. So you fine tuning because it's all about balance, as you know. And when someone who actually was teaching or is still teaching sports massage in one of the schools, and when I looked at the person's handout and I talked, and that instructor told me that yes, the purpose of pre-event massage is to stimulate, like just like that, stimulate. That's it. I said, what about sometimes in some cases when you need to not to put that person asleep, but when you feel that, looking at the iris, checking the pulse, different diagnostic tools you could utilize to realize that that athlete on the edge, that sympathetic system is overstimulated, that one is actually losing that, not on a peak anymore, they're going off the peak of potential performance at the competition. So wouldn't then you choose carefully, but choose few techniques to restore that balance? And so anyway, the bottom line is it's not black or white. The main thing that I would love and would hope that professional massage therapists would learn is that ability to communicate with a specific person, with the central nervous system, keeping in mind that balance between sympathetic and parasympathetic, and choose, tool depending on if it needs to be slightly stimulated. I mean, what should be more dominant at the moment, go dominant to become balanced. So and I hope it makes sense.
Yep. And then, do you guys believe not to stretch before events and stuff like that? Because I know over in the United States, the big thing is try not to do a lot of stretching before they do any kind of things.
Right. No, we did stretch it, but that stretching, it's all based on the history of a specific athlete. If someone has a history of getting injured through the warm-up, during warm-up, we would actually, I'm just using it as another example, that massage therapy would be used instead of the warm-up. So literally, again, to address your question, massage therapy as a pre-event would be used before the warm-up, after the warm-up, or instead of the warm-up. 3 different variations. And again, if that athlete, because we all have other athletes, we all have smaller competitions when we improvise, when we get creative, when we testing some strategies. If as an athlete, let's say runner, if I did my warm-up and I did specific stretching, and as a result, I had my PR in my personal record broken, or so I would go for a repetition of what I've done that led to my success. And that major combination I would be determining based on the testing, and not the main competition, not in very important starts, but something that I would be okay to experiment with. And that's how we were determining what's best for a specific athlete. So again, to answer your question, there is no black or white. I know there are quite a few debates out there, but even based on my personal experience as a professional athlete and later taking care of other professional athletes, it's never black or white. You need to know how that person's responding. For someone, you would say absolutely no stretching. For others, you would do a little bit, but it's all within the range, because you do not want to increase the range of motion, because then it would interfere again with that very fine communication between the muscles and the nerves. So it has to be all, practiced before the competition, meaning through the training process, and at the event, nothing new should be introduced for sure.
And what kind of lubrication do you guys use then?
For sports, in many sports, first of all, you cannot use lubrication because that would affect athlete's performance, right? So basically, we are the sports massage professional experts that we became as a result of many years of experience. We have learned to do massage without any lubricant, because sometimes actually you work on someone who is dressed, maybe it's even cross-country ski competition or whatever on a slope in the winter. You still, even then in those wintry conditions outside, you would still be able to implement massage therapy as a pre-event, for sure. The same goes for, the other sports, maybe it's swimming or different type of sports, as you can imagine, would prohibit using a lubricant. And also, like I said, for, from the practical point of view, even at my seminars, I encourage people to use the hands without lubricant, for them to get more ability to feel what they're working on and to manipulate the tissue, because especially since we're addressing everything layer by layer, it's not just go deep or you work with the skin, you work with the connective tissue like a sandwich. You're not taking one bite of the sandwich, it's layer by layer. So that's why ability and the skill that we would develop as a result of practicing giving massage without lubricant is very valuable, and I would encourage even someone who is listening right now to do that, just to do massage, just again, not to irritate someone's skin, you would also have to be selective based on who you're working on. But I have no problem giving full body massage without a lubricant. So that was part of the sports massage training, and that's a good tool to have in general.
And even with a maintenance massage, let's say many days before the actual event, you still don't use anything either then?
No, for that, because then definitely I do not use it when I check for the reflex zone formation, when I pinching the skin, checking any discrepancy comparing left and right side, any difference. So I for that, of course, for diagnostic assessment, it has to be dry, and then I put a lubricant for to use mainly through the massage. However, when I apply specific kneading techniques, then again I would wipe off the lubricant from the client and from myself to work to actually control the tissue, because sometimes there is a need for very specific kneading application applied to a specific area. Then lubricant would not be advisable. So you use it, then you wipe it off. You put it on, you wipe it off. So again, a flexibility in understanding what allows you better communication with the central nervous system.
Okay, and there's a question in the chat. Does Oleg have any suggestions for preventing muscle cramps?
Preventing, well, again, if muscles are maintained in their normal anatomical length, which maybe it sounds too boring, but if you or that person able to unload that extra tension that muscle was had developed as a result of physical overload, potentially overload, so then that would not be then there would be no cramping unless something else is going on with their diet or something more in relation to biochemical elements. But as far as the massage, if nothing is wrong medically with that person, if I work on you as an athlete and you do what you do, training yourself or getting trained, and I will work on you, making sure that if muscle is shortened, I apply PIR, you follow that self-care routine, then there should be no cramping. There should not, because it's very hard to put the muscle under so much strain that it would go from being in normal length going into spasm. And usually there is it's an accumulative process, accumulation of tension. The tone is going up, hypertonus is developing, especially if trigger point kicks in, then it's all easy to go into spasm. However, even then, even myself, I remember as a young swimmer, if I would be swimming and at one point or another I would get cramp, and instead of doing what my other teammates would do, they would quickly get to the side of the pool to get out because the pain is so excruciating, and I would just relax and I would allow myself go to the bottom of the pool while observing that cramp and trying to mentally release it, and then finding position to stretching it while I'm still underwater. And that would I was able to successfully deal with my own cramps by simply relaxing, not allowing that panic to take over, going to overdrive, and finding the position when you put that muscle that is going in spasm, putting it into the stretch through the passive, through the body positioning, and that would directly overdo it. So simply, go right to the point and following the line of contraction, but putting it into elongation, and that's simply as a way of dealing with it on the spot myself, or when I dealt with someone who even maybe during the massage workshop, all of a sudden goes into spasm. So the same very quick way to address it by restoring length, by simply dealing with the human physiology, addressing and obviously addressing the Golgi tender organs, communicating with them, because they are the ones as the proprioceptors that responding for reduction in the muscle tone, versus muscle spindles, of course, just responsible only for the increase in the tone. So yes, you could prevent, and again, most of the time, because I do not know every possible scenario, but I would safely say that yes, you could prevent spasms by maintaining those muscles normal tone.
Okay.
Probably too long of an answer, but essentially, there's a lot could be done. Thank you for the question.
Yeah. And then any kind of events, what's the hierarchy with massage? I mean, who do massage therapists have to answer to, or who are they getting direction from usually?
Well, again, in back where I came from, it was even. So I would be like we would be discussing like round table. There is a coach, there is a the doctor, sports medicine doctor, and myself, and we deciding what's the best protocol, how to integrate what we have in a perfect plan for the athlete. So that there was no. So it was equals. That was 3 or 4 or 5, whatever the team is, equals exchanging, and playing together. Here, from what I know, it's very different. That's why one of the reasons I have actually declined quite a few offers, contract offers from different NBA, NFL, and NHL teams, because I know I would end up working and compromising and keeping my mouth shut when which would not make me feel good. And I am at this age and stage in my life that I would not compromise to that degree. However, for someone who has an opportunity to be a massage therapist for the team, younger and maybe even single, to travel and do whatever the team requires, maybe sometimes carry the bags, from the bus to the hotel or whatever, because that's what the reality is. Then you like a help. You're a professional. You do what you do, but you do when you're told, and whenever you can, not whenever you would like to. And you do other things besides massage. It's just reality. And I have many therapists, many of my former students working for different teams, top teams. And as a matter of fact, even Dallas Mavericks now, the champions, Rick Carlisle, the head coach, say, "Oleg, why don't you come?" It's to us now since we are champions. But again, I'm just using an example. Yes, there is a need for sports massage therapy. The recognition of sports massage slowly but surely become more and more like widespread. And now it's pretty common for any team, baseball, basketball, and you name it, for them to utilize massage therapy to a certain extent, but not so many actually know how much they could benefit from it. So that there is still a way to go in making that connection.
And that's my understanding. You do like fundraisers and events and foundation things too, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
and that's what I said, because that's
Yeah.
my charity. That's one of my projects. Like I wish I would have only one. Let's say only teaching sports massage. It's so easy, but no, I cannot take. Easy is not good, right? Easy is boring. So yes, my main job right now, is director of advanced studies at the Sochi, and I'm happy about that, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to work with someone who just heading into our profession and making right choice and learning right tools. However, I still very passionate, of course, working with kids, and I do give volunteer my time just working with children with different pathologies. But still, it's time to have another event to raise significant amount of funds and recruit other therapists, because there's only so much I can do with my two hands. So my former students or not, maybe someone in other regions would have an idea, please share with me. I would be happy to collaborate with you on what you do in your area. And there is so much business, potential business, so that's why I would refuse to listen to someone's whining that, oh, it's easy for you to say because you're in Hollywood or LA, whatever, and we are in a small rural area, there is not much. It's all not, it just, I believe that misconception that there are some areas of course maybe give you more opportunities, but there are no areas that I'm aware of that do not have an opportunity. What are you doing? Hey, go away. He's whining, go lay down. My big dog here upset that I'm not paying attention to him. It's not all about you here. He's talking about multitasking, taking care of everyone, including my children and my dog even. Go lay down.
Yeah.
So, anyway, so yes, the charity, the fundraiser, that's on my plate. Literally, as soon as I will contact again with Stephanie Field, I just expect to get a couple missing pieces, and I will move on with the fundraiser.
Okay, and then what kind of places are you going to be at this year? You mentioned in England, and then any other places in the United States then?
Well, and yes, I'm all over the place. All over. I have like 10 seminars scheduled. Everything. Like I said, West Palm Beach in Florida would be 3 days medical massage, but 2 days Russian sports massage, 2 intensive days. That's in all other Las Vegas and New Mexico, Colorado, Nevada. Gosh, there is a long list. It's all the calendar is on my website. So please, if you're watching now or will watch it later, visit my website or wellnessglobal.com. Look at the calendar of events, and if someone is interested, if what I'm saying makes sense, and if you feel any excitement about learning what I will be passionately sharing with all my participants at the seminars, then please come to my website and register at this point, and I would be happy to give 10% discount on the seminars, and plus we would work out discounts on the DVDs and so on. And in addition, I would love to mention that with Dr. Ross, my business partner, we have scienceofmassage.com. As simple as that, scienceofmassage.com. Every pathology, somatic pathology that we have scientifically designed protocol of massage for, it's all there. Video library, every pathology for somatic pathology is addressed. It's all there, and it's $20 a month. However, again, if you, as a result of this exchange, if you're interested, please, first month would be free, and then $16 a month. Continue on if you find it effective and useful. That's another thing to consider. So between my seminars, DVDs, and website, if you need any extra knowledge, if you need extra help, medical massage, sports massage, I'm at your service.
And then you told me a funny story last year that one of the conferences you were at, they actually have a security guard just because people kept trying to sneak in your classes all the time. And
well, that's a history, and that's a good history, right? Again, Ryan, because I have several big projects that I am balancing at any given time. I'm refused to let go either one of them. So I keep balancing all those big projects, including like 2 years ago, I have dedicated whole year implementing the program of physical education, exercise / massage therapy for children in elementary school, local elementary school. For the whole year, I was there full time. So what I'm saying, I have many big projects. That is why, it's hard to, if I would be able to focus just on this one, then yes, I would have thousands and thousands of massage therapists already enjoying the results of their learning with me. But it's all like baby steps. I have to, in a way, settle for baby steps because I am so stubborn trying to push all the projects at the same time. And my charitable work and the children fitness and the books that I'm writing about the correct way to exercise and how to, keep that balance between sympathetic and parasympathetic system. So a lot of projects. Of course, this is a big year. I hope to complete them all this year, or at least have a big jump in every direction. Hopefully, I'll have enough health to do that. But please, if anyone interested in collaborating, you have your ideas, or you would like to team up with me on what I have already started, but bring it to your region, I am all for it.
Okay, perfect. So the best way to get a hold of you would be wellnessglobal.com then, right?
Global.com, that's my, and please, again, my articles are there, Russian sports massage with American accent, different, I get quite a few articles that I always keep writing, but few of them been published, and those the ones that have been published I put on my website, including phenomenon of adaptation. There are also, right now we talked about general concepts and some specific examples, but there is so much science behind it. It's technical, but I know people will benefit by just reading and understanding. And the more specific we get, the better results we will be able to produce as understanding and making connection. Stop it! My dog is crying. Yes, so yeah, please, allwellnessglobal.com is my site, and clearly scienceofmassage.com. So much information, and it's affiliates. You could click on the link of scienceofmassage.com on my homepage or Wellness Global, or go directly to, and Dr. Ross will be partnering with me, or we will be partners at that West Palm Beach, Florida seminar for medical massage.
Okay. Thank you very much, Oleg. It's been a pleasure tonight.
Well, I can tell you how happy I am. That's my first experience in front of the camera. Hopefully I didn't mess up too much, looking all around instead of focusing on that camera. But thank you for the opportunity, and I wish you, everyone, including you, of course, Happy New Year, and let this year to be a year of fulfillment, health, of course, love, and fulfillment. And and thank you for your service. I mean, it's crazy how much you have done for the community. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you, Oleg. And thanks everybody for participating and tuning in. And I'll have the replay up tomorrow then, okay? Thanks.
Happy New Year.
Yep. Good night.